Hi Nicholas, this is Pete with Inner Defense. This will be the first of several videos I'm going to show you explaining the operation of this whole system. Now, I have in front of me, this is the FN holster that has the mold out for weapon light, but I do not have that model of firearm available to show you how the holster works. So what I do have is I have my Glock, empty magazine well, empty chamber, decocked. So it is safe for the sake of this example. This is the the Glock holster. And basically, we insert the firearm into the holster, pull up the retention strap, and it locks in place. The firearm cannot be removed from the holster with the strap in place. To release the strap, you simply push the quick release and remove the firearm from the holster. Now, with the nature of Kydex being a rigid material, this holster is designed to increase or decrease the holding friction by either tightening or loosening these screws. Even without the retention strap, the firearm does not fall out of the holster like it would with a nylon or some leather models. I would recommend, however, after you set the removal friction, we do drop a little bit of thread locker down inside of the holes to keep the hardware stable. Again, this is just how the holster functions. And that covers the operation of the holster itself. The following videos, I'm going to show how to mount the quick release plate to the holster, and then how to use the system overall the way it was designed across the 3 different mounts that you requested. This is Pete with Inter Defense. Defend freedom. Okay, Nicholas. This will be the second video in the series of how this system functions, and I'm going to say this is probably the most detail-oriented video, because the rest of them are all based simply on this plate going into a quick release, and I'll show that system in the following videos. But essentially, you have your holster that has the 3 mounting holes that mount to the corresponding holes on the mounting plate. So we take the female thread insert, and we insert that into the holster. And then to simplify the installation, we take the mounting isolator, slide it over the threaded insert, and that holds the threaded insert in place. And we simply repeat this step with the other inserts. Now again, the cool part of this is once this whole thing is done, the holster is now mounted to the quick release plate, and you can simply swap the holster from mount to mount to mount, whether it's the drop leg, whether it's the molly mount, or whether it's the duty carry mount. And essentially, the hardest part, in my opinion, is getting this plate lined up on here. And again, I have practiced this a couple times, so for me it's going relatively smooth. So let me drop in the screw. Take the screwdriver. And I like to start by just kind of snugging up one screw. Then after this, you can simply drop the other screws in place and tighten the screwdriver. Now, I will point out that these spacers are a semi-rigid material. So as you tighten the screws, you will see how the spacer compresses a little bit. Now, I would ask, obviously, that whoever's doing this portion of the, assembly, use a little common sense. You don't need to crush these down. Just give them a little snug twist until there's a little bit of friction. And perhaps once you have these set at the intended torque, I guess you would say. Again, go back and drop a little bit of thread locker down inside the female receiving mounts, and that will just help the hardware stay in place. But essentially, we now have the FN holster mounted to the quick release plate that goes with the system. That concludes the video for assembling the holster with the mounting plate. And again, all the holsters use the same mounting plates. That's the beauty of this system. So you can have different firearms, but you can still use the same system as long as you have the corresponding holster. This is Pete with Inner Defense. Defend freedom. Hello, Nicholas. Pete with Inner Defense. This is video number 3 in the series of the Kydex holster system that you were looking at. In the previous video, I had mounted the FN holster to the back plate, or the quick release plate. Now down here, you see this little lever that has a little tongue on it, and there's a little hook up top. This is the belt carry, or the duty carry mount, and I'll show this mounted on a carry belt later on. But essentially, the way the system works, hopefully we're catching this on the camera, is that you interface the plate, slide it into the receiver, you'll hear it click, which is this tab down here. Then to lock it in place, we have this little lock that pivots and locks down over the plate. So even if this tongue is pulled, you can't slide the plate off. It is now securely connected. Now again, this is the duty carry for a duty holster. We also have, this is the mount for the MOLLE. And the way this works is on the back side, you have these spring-loaded levers. Okay? So you press the lever down, and you can see right here how it releases. And you open the tab. And you insert this into a MOLLE vest or into any MOLLE carrier and simply click them closed. And the third mount is the leg drop mount, which comes with a standard belt mount. This clicks in. It has the quick release mounting platform already on there, and it has this really cool swivel detail that makes this a lot more comfortable to carry than some of the lower end drop leg platforms. So that covers the platforms and how they interface with the mount. Now I'm going to show each one of these connected to or mounted on their intended, I guess, area. This is Pete with Inner Defense. Defend freedom. Hello, Nicholas. This is the next video in the Kydex holster system that you were looking at. I have here a combat belt, duty belt, gun belt. Depending upon where you are in the world, you're going to hear different descriptions about what this is. This is basically a dedicated belt that you set up with your holster, your magazine pouches, any other accessory that you require for whatever job that you're about to undertake. This belt's very simple to operate. Basically, you have larger belt hoops right here to mount on either a regular waist belt or, in this instance, combat belt, duty belt, gun belt. Sorry, we're missing the detail there. Essentially, I don't have to go through the explanation of how to put the belt together. It's pretty simple. Weave it through there. Then again, if you haven't already mounted it, just mount your holster. Essentially, you end up with this whole assembly mounted on your dedicated duty belt or combat belt, again, whatever name you want to use. So that is essentially how this mounts up. I think it's pretty straightforward. This is Pete with Inner Defense. Defend freedom. Hi, Nicholas. The purpose of this video is to show the MOLLE mount for the holster being mounted onto, in this instance, a ballistic vest. Again, any MOLLE mountable unit, leg drop platform, vest, backpack, any way you want to mount this very simple. This is a much easier system than using even the current system that uses plastic inserts. The old system used to use nylon straps that you had to weave back and forth. This is very simple. You feed through these straps. Now, of course, the straps aren't adjustable because they're sewn in place. So you simply slide it through, line them up, lock them up. Now you have a nice secure mount that you then take, obviously, the holster with the plate and slide her on home. Lock her down, and then now you have your holster mounted on your ballistic vest or whatever platform with MOLLE gear that you're mounting this to. So again, really straightforward. Let's take this off. You can see the mount is nice and tight on the MOLLE webbing. And to release it, you simply release the pins, pull it back. This is Pete with Inner Defense. Defend freedom. Nicholas, Pete with Inner Defense. The previous video was the MOLLE mount video where I showed this mount going onto a ballistic vest. I've since tried this mount on a couple other ballistic vests that we have, and it's come to my attention that due to manufacturing fluctuations, not all MOLLE mount is spaced properly. There's a little variation in the spacing. So what I've been advised from the manufacturer to explain is that although not necessarily the perfect fix, you are able to loosen these screws on the MOLLE bars, and you can move them just a little bit to deviate their width. Unfortunately, this is part of the system where, again, not every manufacturer adheres to proper specifications as far as spacing goes. Even materials can affect the spacing. So if we do run into that issue, you can loosen the screws and you can angle the mounts either way to get a tighter fit. That's what I've been advised by the manufacturer, but this specific spacing is set up to mil-spec MOLLE mount that you will find on any United States manufactured ballistic vest. Anything manufactured outside the United States may or may not have the same spacing. So I was advised to just pass this information on to you for you to simply have at your disposal. So hopefully you don't run into that issue. This is Pete with Inner Defense. Defend freedom. Hi, Nicholas. This is Pete with Inner Defense. This video is going to deal with the drop leg platform. Kind of a self-explanatory design, but just to point out, here's the belt mount. I already mounted it, so we don't have to go through all the time wasting that. Then you have the quick release buckle that we connect in that manner. Now you have the drop leg. Of course, you take your two retention straps and you simply bring them around and click in place. Now, of course, you want to adjust these to have a snug fit on your leg. You can adjust the belt mount however you wish to place the holster wherever you wish. And then, of course, you have the platform that, again, locks in. That gives you a holster location. Of course, it's personal preference as to how whoever is using this is going to mount it. But for the most part, it's a straightforward unit, high quality material. The leg straps are rubberized to keep them in place. And overall, just a nice solid quality build. So that's the drop leg platform. This is Pete with Inner Defense. Defend freedom.